Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Fieldhouse. I'm Blake Munroe, where I'm joined each week by Padilla, Coach Tim Buchanan, Bob Shipley, and Gerry Hamilton. And Carl, just like every week, what you got for us, man? I know you got some interesting stats.
I got a ton of stuff going. By the way, I found another team that hadn't scored a point this year, but I actually had them down with one because they won the game on forfeit. So, again, this week, extra prayers for Spring, which is actually favored to win this week. Katie Harmony, which actually has a win because of a forfeit. So they're favored to win, beating their sister school, Sugarland Harmony. And then Valley View may be the only one after this week that hasn't scored because they're favored to lose by a bunch against Holiday. So some districts of note, in 6-4A Division I, the average score was 65-9. In 13-4A Division I, the average score, 2 or 3 games were shutouts. The average score was 60.7-2. In 10-2A Division II, the average score was 56.5-2. In 12-2A Division II, the average score was 45.5-0. And in 15-2A Division II, the average score was 53.7-2.7. So we had 2 things happen last week that hadn't happened all year. Decatur 91, Diamond Hill Jarvis 8. And that was a little bit less. Ozona 94, Reagan County 16. So first 2 schools this year to hit 90.
Hey, I just want to say this. For those of you that follow Texas high school football, you need to be on the PadillaPoll.com because nobody knows more about what's going on out there than Carl Padilla. He's been the man for a long time. I've always been a big fan of Carl Padilla, and he knows what's going on. So go to the PadillaPoll.com, and you can find out all Carl's latest takes on what's going on in Texas high school football. He's as good as there is out there.
So
thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Agree.
For Buck, Eisenhower beat Spring 6-0 to keep Spring scoreless, and Brownsville Porter beat Brownsville Pace 7-0. So I know Buck loves those games. I was at the Piper Seguin game. Piper won 56-42. The young man, Coach Daly's son, is the real deal.
Yeah.
Rockport Fulton upset Cuero 57-56. Should have been at that game.
That would have got coaches fired 15 years ago at Cuero, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you know what? They're playing Sinton this week, so it could be a 3-way tie in that district if it doesn't get any better. So, but they got to beat Sinton now. So going back to, we had 81 shutouts in UIL last week. 2 teams score 90, 2 teams score 80, 17 scored 70. There was 75 games. Now, again, that's about 15% of the games played were won by 50 or more. 77 games were 1 score. In Region 4 and 6A, half of the 22 games were in Region 4, 11 of the 22 games. And we had only 12 games statewide where both teams combined for 100 points or more.
Wow. Bug, does that drive you nuts?
No,
seeing these defenses like that?
Not at all. I love watching 80 people score 80 points.
Hey, Carl. Hey, Carl, what was the most impressive win last week? And I bring this up. Was Newton beating Woodville 72-26? I mean,
that's probably it. But you know what? Last year, Woodville didn't wake up till like week 9.
Yeah.
And so they may be on the same course again this year. There's just some teams that, for some reason, they get their backs up against the wall like Woodville had last year, and they had to win the last couple of district games to get in, and there they are in the state finals. So it's
Woodville is really, I know, Billy Hoppers, who was our DC when I was coaching in College Station with Ross Rogers. And Billy, of course, he's 80 years old, but he's the DC at Woodville, and he said, they're really, really, really young on defense. So they're pretty good on offense, but they're really young on defense. So it's going to take them a while. Hopefully, like Carl said, by week 9, week 10, he'll have them in the right spots.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever given up 70 points. So
yeah, and Newton's really good, right? I mean, they blew out Tatum, right? They've blown out everybody this year. They lost to West Orange start the year, but Newton's really potent on offense. That score jumped out to me, Carl, for some reason. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see that one.
And you know what? Heath beating North Forney in overtime, 56-55, just made that district even harder to predict. We don't know who the four that are going to get out, and 5 and 6 are going to be really good teams staying at home.
All right, guys. Well, one thing that we wanted to do this week, Carl, we're actually going to use your poll and take a look at 4A through 6A. And I'm going to we'll start with 4A Division 2 here. We've mentioned Carthage a couple of times, but Carthage at number 1, followed by Midland, Greenwood, Brock at 3, Texarkana, Pleasant Grove 4, Belleville at 5, Sealy, Sinton, La Vega, Lubbock, Liberty, and Seminole round out your top 10.
Wow, seeing Chris Ogden's Seminole team on there is wild to me in the top 10. The reason I wanted to bring this up, I wanted to ask Coach Buck first off. You know, you won mini state championships. Scott Surratt's won mini state championships. Take people through. You know, look, they're favored again. You were favored at Aledo. Y'all were favored many times. Kind of talk to people. What's that like? Because everybody thinks it's easy, right? Oh, well, you have the most talent and, you know, y'all have the prestige and it's supposed to go this way. But that doesn't mean it's an easy job and an easy season. Take people through that from your standpoint.
Well, first of all, the rankings mean nothing. And that's the thing you got to get across to your kids.
Right.
You know, it's neat. It's fun. It's nice for your kids to be able to see their team up there, you know, ranked number 1. But it doesn't mean anything until after week 16, who's ranked number 1. I always liked it, honestly, as a head coach. Some people say some don't like it, some do. But I kind of liked it because it gave our kids – because when I first came to Aledo, we had no confidence.
Right.
I mean, that was the thing we had to build was confidence. And, you know, I always liked the fact that it gave them a little bit more confidence and they believed they were supposed to win a lot of times. But, you know, doing like what Scott's done, you know, winning year in and year out, y'all know, I mean, that's hard. I mean, winning a state championship, there's a lot of luck that goes into it, you know, staying healthy and, you know, weather. I mean, there's a lot of things that factor into winning football games, and to do it as many times as what he has is extremely special. I mean, he's a good football coach, and but there's a lot of good football coaches out there that don't win 10 state championships. And he does a great job of not only, you know, being a great play caller and a great coach, but he puts the right kids in the right spot at the right time and does a heck of a job motivating them year in and year out.
Hey, Bob, I wanted to follow up on that too, because Jet Surratt's a senior, the quarterback, obviously his son. You went through that a couple times, right? Talk about as a coach, you know, those last few games, coaching your kid knowing, okay, this is my last one. So Jackson, I guess your last son, in Scott's case, his only son, kind of those last few games, what that kind of means to you from a coaching perspective, because he's grown up as your ball boy, probably took some heat for a wet football at some point, didn't drop the football, but now watching him play and finish out.
Well, it's ironic that my son Jackson's last game was against Scott Surratt in the semi.
I was there.
Yeah, semis, and it's tough. It's all about the right breaks. We had our best linebacker separated his shoulder in that game. Our fourth safety broke his femur in that semifinal game, and it came down to the wire. And but I tell you what, if your son has to play a last game in the semifinals and get beat by a team, Scott Surratt would be the one I would want to bow out to, because you know, he and Buck and maybe one other are as good as I've ever seen in high school football in terms of coaches and getting the most out of their athletes, making sure they're ready to play every single week, because the pressure is incredible that it takes, especially when you have a son on the team. because it takes on a whole new meaning to you as a coach. And, I'm happy for him. I love to see coaches coaching their own kids, especially, like Jet, who is an exceptional athlete, multi-sport athlete. Jordan, on the other hand, played in two state championship games. And the only time he had an injury in high school was in a state championship game. In 2002, Jordan had an ingrown toenail cut out right before we played Everman in the state championship at the Alamo Bowl in 2002, and he was just a shell of a player that he was. In 2003, we go to the old Cowboy Stadium, play Gainesville for the state championship. Jordan returns the opening kickoff for a touchdown. The first defensive series, they go for it on fourth down. Jordan's playing corner and receiver. He gets a concussion, gets knocked out, and by today's protocol, he would not be allowed back in the game. He did go back in the game, but we go into halftime, and he doesn't even know where his locker is. I mean, he's just out. He shouldn't even been in the game. And that's unfortunate, and I hope that doesn't happen to Jet. And I hope Scott can end his son's high school season with another state championship. There's something very special about that.
Hey, Carl, I got to ask you a trivia question. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. Same son. What is there a record for state championships of the son playing on a team with a coach? His dad's the head coach.
Well, Scott will have 3 if Jet wins it this year. How's that? So that might be the record.
I'm guessing.
What about Riley Dodge? How many did Riley win?
He didn't win his
senior year. And they didn't win it year, did they? Didn't they fumble the snap in the senior year?
Abilene High maybe won that year.
Yeah.
So I think Riley had to come out of the game for an injury.
Yeah. Well, I think he
in that game in Abilene.
He had an ACL, so he was done for the year, and they couldn't kick the winning field goal because they couldn't take the snap from center. But I guess they would both have 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, let's look at 4A Division 1 next. I actually texted Gerry over the weekend.
This is a battle royale.
Anybody is beating Salina this year. Carl, I was looking just a second ago, and Salina has beaten at least 5 teams in your top 15 in Class 4A already this season. But Salina, Stephenville, Kilgore, Panther Creek, and then Canyon West Plains are your top 5. But Carl, is anybody beating Salina this year?
I'll tell you what, I saw Stephenville put it on La Vega, and I know La Vega is just a 4A D2. But they're very good for AD2. Stephenville looks like they've got, if anybody can do it, and let's not count out West Plains, they're darn good too. Stephenville just might be able to do that this year.
What I love about Salina is that I tried to do it and burn it. Bill Elliott was a Salina grad. I tried to do it and burn it going back to my hometown, winning state championships, played for 2. Pretty special when you can go back to your hometown and win a state championship. It's like a double satisfying situation. Not only win a state championship, which is incredibly hard to do, as Buck has pointed out many times, but to do it in your hometown is really, really special.
And then we'll take a look at 5A Division 2. Starts with South Oak Cliff at number 1, Richmond Randall 2, Iowa Colony 3, Argyle 4, Prosper Walnut Grove 5. Gerry, what stands out to you about this one?
Well, I was at Anna High last week because I went to see Peyton Miller, the 2027 center, who's maybe the best center in the country in that class. Anna is interesting, not from a ranking standpoint, because there's so many kids moving in there now. Families, that place is growing. They have a linebacker committed to Arizona, Jaden Parker, that moved in from Wichita Collegiate. And I think he was like 203 pounds when he moved in, Carl. He's 226 and is unbelievable looking kid. Now they had a 6'6" defensive end kid move in from New Orleans. He has a younger brother, I think that's an 8th grader, that maybe one of their best players. But they're interesting because they're in that growth right now where they just have people move when people are moving into DFW because they had success and they're moving into that north of Dallas area. Man, it was interesting to see how many new kids they had on that team. And it's not like you're going out and recruiting guys from Wichita Collegiate, New Orleans, right? It's where people are moving to. They have a pretty good amount of young talent. Of course, their key is their senior quarterback who's going to A&M Kingsville to play for Coach Pratt's brother. I think that kid's a D1 player, and this is where the portal's screwing everything up. But it was just interesting, Anna, some of the new faces on that team that aren't DFW area kids, they moved in from out of state. And I'm telling you, that linebacker may be an NFL kid one day. Jaden Parker, remember that name.
Hey, I wanted to ask Carl, Argyle has a big game this week against Mansfield Summit. Both teams are 5-1. How do you see that game playing out, Carl?
I don't think really and truly anybody's going to play Argyle in their district. So Summit may surprise me, but I just don't think anybody can play with Todd Rogers' team. And so I don't think they'll be tested until the third week of the playoffs, basically when they have to play the one seed from the other district, whoever that happens to be, because it's loaded, Walnut Grove, Melissa. So probably one of those, and they'll get with Argyle and go from there. And, you go back to Anna right now, they lost to Melissa. So
yeah.
I guess they could get back into first with the right win, but they may wind up being third.
Yep.
Wow.
Man. All right, let's look at 5A, Division 1. Frisco Lone
Coach
Star.
Buck, what's up, man?
Frisco Lone Star number 1, Aledo 2, Angleton 3, Port Arthur Memorial 4, Denton Ryan rounds out your top 5 there.
I've seen LaPorte play. I actually watched them demolish my Friendswood Mustangs. I think I love the ranking there, Carl. Angleton's better than LaPorte because Angleton also demolished my Friendswood Mustangs. LaPorte's not quite as good as they were last year. Angleton's really good football team. Frisco Lone Star is supremely talented, guys. I mean, like, supremely talented team this year. But Coach Buck at Aledo, defense strength for these guys this year?
Probably the best defense they've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
They're very physical in the back end. That's the big difference this year over the last several years. And, Lone Star being number 1, you can tell Carl's a dadgum offensive loving dude, like all the rest of them. Now, Aledo's struggling at quarterback. They've got 2 good kids that are playing quarterback, but neither one of them are the level of quarterback that Aledo's had when they won a state championship. So it'll make it hard on them because they're going to come across somebody who plays good defense. Maybe not as good as what Aledo's defense is, but if they play good defense and then are really good on offense, that's gonna hurt Aledo. And I think Lone Star may be the team that's good enough to do that.
But
good ranking, Carl. You did good.
But the good thing about that, Buck, is he gets to see one of the best defenses in the state every day in practice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, Denton Ryan got pretty dang good on defense too.
Yeah.
If Aledo if they both make it to the quarterfinals again, I think they'll meet either in the 3rd or 4th round. I ain't sure yet, but
4th round.
That's gonna be a heck of a football rematch.
Yeah, as long as they're 1 and 2 in district, they'll meet in the 4th round, and then the winner will have probably Lone Star waiting for them.
And for those that aren't familiar with Lone Star, they got a sophomore quarterback named Trey Wright, and it'll be interesting deep in the playoffs if he's ready for that moment against really good defense, whether that's Aledo or Denton Ryan. But he's one of the more talented 2-sport guys in the state. I mean, he's really good in basketball as well. He's a guy that got a lot of Power 4 offers. So they have senior guys like Davion Gross currently committed to Florida. Of course, Billy Napier is going to get fired Sunday. But the sophomore quarterback is a little different for them. He is a really talented kid.
And then let's look at 6A fellas. South Lake Carroll, obviously number 1, followed by Fort Bend, Ridge Point, Allen, Austin, Westlake, and Duncanville. And then North Shore, Prosper, Lake Travis, Sheldon King, and Denton Geyer round out the top 10 in this one, fellas.
Carl, when's the last time 6A's been this wide open? I mean, because we went for years when you knew Duncanville and North Shore were going to play.
Yeah,
And
we're talking about Division One is wide open because there's so many. But if you want to know something, the difference between South Lake Carroll and North Crowley is not even close. I mean, it's 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's a long ways from 1 to 14. But yeah, how many Division One teams are on that list? And probably every one of them could win state.
Carl,
South Lake going to go Division 1 or 2?
Who?
South Lake.
South Lake's going Division 2.
Division 2.
Yeah.
hey, Carl, does Allen have a chance? I mean, does Plano West have a chance with Allen coming into Plano West? Allen 6-0, Plano West 5-2. Will Plano West even be a challenge for him?
No, not at all. Not at all. So they'll have a challenge when they play Prosper, and that's it in district. And they probably won't have one again like Argyle until round 3 or round 4 of the playoffs.
But Carl, here's the big question. Which fan base has bigger houses, South Lake or Plano West? That's a push, right? That's a coin flip.
Well, you know, my buddy at Plano East, Matt Diggs, would probably tell you Plano East does. So how's that?
I'm going with Plano West, barely. Because the neighborhood that I think right to the right of the high school is where Emmett Smith used to live before he moved back down closer to Dallas. If I remember right, that's Plano West area is a little right by that high school is a little special now.
Well, and if you're right, then in 2 years when we have NIL in high school, maybe Plano West, you know, is the Plano team without a doubt.
Yeah, great return to prominence.
Well, as we do every week, let's talk about what games you guys are paying attention to this week. And Carl, I'm going to start with you.
Well, very seldom Southwest and Southwest Legacy get to play for a district title or a home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Affectionately known as the Fire and Armor Bowl. It's this Friday, and so I'll be there. Never seen a game at Southwest Legacy, and if you want to know, it's so funny because that's turf. It's a stadium that's up in the sunlight and all that. If you ever go to Southwest ISD, Gerry, you need to go there.
Yes,
it should be on your bucket list. But when you drive up to Southwest Stadium, the only thing you see is the press box. And the rest of it is in the Medina River Valley bottom. It's grass. It will never have turf because no insurance company will insure it. And they've done a nice job. You know, you always had to climb about 40 feet and about 200 yards from the visitor's bench to the dressing room. But they actually put lights in there a couple of years ago so you could actually see yourself walking. So, but this should be a heck of a game. Laredo Nixon is the other team in there that could make it a 3-way tie if things happen right. But if Southwest wins, they may just win the district, and Southwest Legacy would finish third and wind up going to either Piper or New Braunfels.
Bob, what about you?
Well, there's a lot of great games out this way. Wall 7-0 against Kahoma 6-1. Cahoma's led by head coach Chad Tuttle, which I coached him in high school at Rotan. He was a Yellowhammer for me. But that's a good game. But the game that I'm really looking forward to is in Georgetown. Georgetown's 5-1. Eastview's 5-1. That's going to be – it's really great to see a 2 high school district with 2 great teams like they have going at each other. That one really is big to me, but I would have to say the biggest game for me in that area is going to be Lake Travis and Dripping Springs, both undefeated, both having great battles in the past. Dripping Springs has continued to make noise in that area. Lake Travis, you know, their history is what it is. That's going to be a great ball game.
Hey, the fun thing about that, Bob, is that it's actually a Lake Travis home game, but they have no stadium right now, so they had to play it in Dripping Springs. So kind of like Lake Travis, be wearing white, be on the visitor side, but it's actually a home game for them.
What happened to their stadium?
They started the press box for some reason in the middle of football season. So,
Interesting. It's not working well for Sam Houston State.
Buck, what about yourself?
I've got two. One, I don't know how close it'll be, but the Brock Eagles are taking on the Rams for Mineral Wells. They're right down the road from each other. Two good young coaches. So I think that'll be a good game. Brock should win it, but it's always a pretty good game. They've got good athletes in Mineral Wells, but I think it'll be a fun game to watch. And then also White Settlement Brewer, the Brewer Bears, and the Birdville Hawks are playing to see who gets a playoff berth, and that should be a good close game.
Gerry?
I'm going to the Golden Triangle. I'm not talking hoops. I gotta eat some crow on this one. So Port Arthur Memorial and Westbrook are playing, and Port Arthur Memorial obviously 7-0, got a really strong senior class. Tank King, the linebacker, going to A&M, number of other guys. But Beaumont Westbrook, I'd left that program for dead. Like I went the last time I went through there, their freshman class was so small and had no talent. And I was telling people, and it was even Bryce Anderson's dad, who I've known for a while. I was like, man, you guys may never win a game again. Like, this is awful when I went through there. Well, they're 5-1 now. Their only loss was to Lufkin in overtime. Bryce Anderson's younger brother, junior quarterback's really good. They found some life. They've got some talent back in there. They got their numbers back up there. Their numbers were low. So do I think Beaumont Westbrook's going to beat Port Arthur Memorial? I'm not saying that. But I wanted to give Beaumont Westbrook a little credit because, man, Carl, I'm sure you know this, but they were really down for a while. And I was wondering, like, if they were going to win ever again there. Like, I just – because the way things are in Beaumont, the kids disperse and they're out the door, right? They're gone. And I remember seeing maybe 18, 19 kids on a freshman team for a practice when I went through there. And I was like, I've never seen anything like this at Beaumont Westbrook. The Beaumont Westbrook I knew growing up was future NFL guys or NBA guys and deep playoff runs, but Chip Ambry is still one of the best high school players I've seen in this state. But I wanted to give Beaumont Westbrook some credit, Carl, because that's been an impressive rebound from some really bad looks on the field for a program that has a lot of history.
Yeah, Gerry, there was probably one of the 5 biggest surprise teams in the state this year.
Yeah.
And right there with Edinburgh Economides, which obviously doesn't have Beaumont Westbrook's talent, but Chuck Langston and his staff have done a great job this year.
Yeah.
Give him a lot of credit.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Fieldhouse. Of course, we thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back same time, same place next week. So for Coach Buck, Gerry Hamilton, Bob Shipley, and Carl Padilla, I'm Blake Munroe, and we'll see you then.